Slight risk I repeat the things that have already been said by my big bosses. Commissioner Andor last night, President Barroso this morning, so please forgive me if I repeat, in other words, what they've already said. But let me say a few words about how CSR can strengthen the Europe 2020 strategy. We all know that it seeks smart, sustainable and inclusive growth, and CSR can push all three of these. But particularly it's the inclusive growth component we're looking at this morning and that DG Employment is particularly interested in. And the communication that has been mentioned several times, adopted by the Commission in 2011, defines CSR, and this is actually a new definition, as the responsibility of enterprises for their impacts on society. That's a very, very broad definition, but narrowing it down a bit to what should companies do in the field of social and employment policy, which is the areas I'm most involved with. Perhaps it would be useful to mention three initiatives that my commissioner and my colleagues are most involved with. There was an employment package that was adopted in April of this year, seeking to improve the rather dire employment situation in many countries. There's about to be a youth employment package, the Commissioner mentioned that yesterday, and in the first part of the winter next year, February or so, we firmly intend to produce a social investment package. Maybe there'll be a little more said about that later. But in all three of these areas, companies can clearly do something to further the aims of more and better jobs, more social inclusion, fighting poverty. Companies indeed have a vital role. The employment package had two pillars, supporting job creation and restoring the dynamics of labour markets. Both of those pillars are clearly something that companies can do. The employment package identified three key areas, the white jobs area, the green jobs area. We don't have a colour for ICT. Some people call them silver jobs, but we'll call it the ICT jobs area. All three of these areas, companies, of course, can do much to further employment, and the use of these technologies can improve society. ICT is a way to help others. And of course, the white jobs area, the healthcare sector, is at the forefront of improving our lives. All of you know that youth unemployment is high in Europe, outrageously so, over 20% on average, and over 50% in Greece and Spain. That does not mean, and I would like to emphasize this, that 50% of young people in Greece or Spain are unemployed. It's an unemployment rate. It means 50% of those looking for work can't find it. But even 50% of people looking for work is far, far, far too high. Clearly, much needs to be done. That's why the Commission is bringing out yet another youth employment package. It's not the first, but in spite of a lot of attention devoted to the youth unemployment problem and the problems of young people, the problem remains very stubborn, so yet another package of measures. And companies will be identified, or means for companies to improve the situation will be identified. In this, one of the linked areas is surely ensuring that young people, but not only young people, have the right skills. This is not only a duty of companies, of course. In the education system, the school system is primarily responsible for ensuring that young people have the right skills. But it's not only them, companies also. They can do a lot to ensure that those who emerge from schools with some skills but not enough skills, and those who emerge from schools with better skills actually have the right skills to progress into good jobs, highly productive jobs. The social investment package will also have direct appeal to companies. It'll put a lot of emphasis on social innovation. We heard a bit about that from Mr. Van Rompuy this morning. Social innovation is an essential part. Public authorities have a lot to learn from the private sector. Social innovation is partly about getting experience from others, how with new tools the situation can be improved for those who are most disadvantaged in societies. An area that hasn't been mentioned very much so far today is the link of the fact that the EU is part of a global economy. There will not be jobs and social inclusion in Europe unless there is a competitive and sustainable set of businesses in Europe. There's a link with trade agreements, increasingly trade agreements, including clauses, sustainability clauses, and some even are involving the mention of corporate social responsibility. The free trade agreements were mentioned, recently signed with South Korea, ongoing discussions with Japan and Canada, perhaps the US. That's the big one. In a way, these are not the countries that one has to push sustainability or corporate social responsibility with most. It's more other developing countries that perhaps there's a greater need to ensure that there is a real recognition of sustainable production. But the trade and development agendas are put together. If I could end on a slightly different point, which has also not been mentioned very much today, and that is the role of member states, national authorities. I mean, the Commission has played a role. The Commission hosts a group of high-level representatives from member states, the high-level group of member states. This is a way for member states to exchange good practices, for the Commission and member states together to learn what is happening. We strongly encourage countries to set up their own national corporate social responsibility action plans. I know that many countries now have national company federations. We heard the chairman of Foreca from Spain earlier. This is going to work very well indeed. I know this is going to be discussed further, and we would strongly encourage these efforts of national administrations and national bodies to continue. Thank you very much.